Hey, so guys, we wanted to do kind of a special, some extra shows this week to kind of keep up to date on what's going on with what's not going on.
Keep your sanity, too.
Keep your sanity.
Also, we just want to hang out while we sit here hanging out.
Yep. There you go. So
I just want people around so that I don't start mourning.
Mourning what?
The death of America.
Oh man.
I'm not mourning the presidency. I'm not. That guy's going to do what God's going to do.
So quick overview of where we're at. North Carolina still looks like it's going for Trump.
If you weren't lip reading, this is what we said.
Yeah, this is right. This is exactly right. Early on the live stream. Georgia obviously still looks like it's going to go for Trump. But they're going around in Georgia,
yeah,
and like trying to get people to fix their votes.
They're curing votes in Georgia.
What's curing votes?
So if you let's say that somebody had a mail-in ballot and they made a mistake and didn't write the date in or something like that. I guess there's a couple thousands of votes that are out there that people are being hired $20 an hour to go door to door, whoever those people are who didn't actually finish or fill their ballot in properly, and make sure that they filled in it properly, and this is what they wanted to do, and
erase that little bubble and fill in that bubble right there. There you go. That's all better.
They're making sure that people's vote counts, Pastor.
I can't believe people actually voted with pencils. I'm still a little.
Really?
I mean, we were talking about this, and they filled it in with pencil.
I've always voted with the pencil.
I've kind of always voted with a pencil too.
I don't trust that.
The little short pencils with no eraser.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't trust that.
Yeah, COVID pencil, so you just walk out with it.
You can erase pencils.
So that's where Georgia looks like.
Guys, the real holdup in all of this is Alaska. What is up with Alaska?
They trying to be important.
You only got 4 electoral votes.
They haven't called the race.
There's like 10 people in the whole state.
And Trump's actually blowing out Biden,
It's not even close.
It's not even close.
Okay,
it's pretty funny.
It's not Alaska.
And so it looks like North Carolina is still going to eke out Trump. At least it looks like it. Pennsylvania, Trump still has a pretty decent lead in Pennsylvania, but there's all sorts of goofy stuff going on in Philadelphia.
So Biden's on track in
just a minute ago, literally like 20 minutes ago,
right before we started,
Donald Trump just tweeted out "big legal win in Pennsylvania!" ! No other explanation, but just said "big legal win." And then 13 minutes ago, all of the recent Biden claimed states will be legally challenged by us for voter fraud and state election fraud. Right. Plenty of proof. Just check out the media. We will win. America first.
I mean, Wisconsin and Michigan are pretty crazy.
Yeah, are they?
This has already been out for a day or so, a day and a half. But we went to bed, 12 o'clock our time, and we wake up in the morning. Trump was ahead by like 150,000 votes in Wisconsin, with like something like 90% or 85% reporting when we went to bed, and then we woke up and Biden was ahead 100,000 votes. I mean, like with just
Gabe, you're just a conspiracy theorist.
A little and then there's like the hockey stick graph. Have you guys seen the hockey stick graph going around? There's two hockey stick graphs going around. Yeah. One from Minnesota and one from one from Wisconsin and one from Michigan, where Biden got 100,000 plus votes without Trump gaining any votes.
Right, but one of those things was a typo.
One was a typo. There was a typo, but there were still gains in. I think Wisconsin was the typo, or Michigan. I forget which one was the typo.
What a heck of a typo, though! It goes from 153,000 to 15,000.
It's a little different.
Just from putting a zero on. I wish that my bank account would do that, except to keep the typo.
Just don't take it away. Keep the
That's
typo.
called stealing.
That's right.
No, they made a mistake. I'm just saying God is blessing.
So Trump's path to winning this
Gold,
race.
Hallelujah.
Tripology right there, bro.
Yeah. Gold, hallelujah.
So Trump's path to winning this race without Wisconsin or Michigan, okay, he doesn't need Wisconsin or Michigan, but he's challenging them, is if he gets Pennsylvania, he just needs Nevada or Arizona.
Right.
Both very tight. Nevada hasn't counted a ballot in 2 days.
Right.
They've been at the same results for 2 days in Nevada.
And they're kind of milking this whole attention thing out. Like,
what happened?
8,000 votes, guys.
What happened to our system that it just does this?
I saw is it like American Idol or something like this, where they count like a bunch of votes over like a 15-minute commercial. Somebody was like, hey, why don't we turn this over to American Idol? They'll have all the votes counted in 15 minutes.
That's hilarious.
I actually said we should give it to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, you did.
Let
Yeah, you
Chick-fil-A
did.
go ahead because we would have known already.
They got fast, cheerful service.
And we would, whatever the revolts, we can trust them.
Well,
And-
and I can't believe we've had voting problems in our country for a while. It's state by state. It's not the states are in charge of how you vote at the state level.
Yep.
But one of the things I learned in my election process and being involved in local politics is that politicians do not want to change the voting process because they got in under those conditions.
Yep.
well, it
And
seems
so
like-
if you change the conditions of how they got elected, well, now you created a bunch of unknowns of if you're getting reelected.
Yesterday, Eric Erickson tweeted out, "How is it that Florida can count its votes so efficiently, but other states, including Georgia, cannot?" And then Governor Jeb Bush actually retweeted Eric Erickson and said, "Because we learned our lesson after 2000 and changed our laws."
Yep.
So
he's saying we kind of we did have a problem 20 years ago.
You can change the laws.
Yeah.
And they have been changing.
But politicians are resistant to it because of that very thing.
So it didn't take any time before that night, election night, November 3rd, our president said they were going to take these things to court automatically.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, his son, Eric, and Rudy Giuliani. He's Rudy Giuliani. Shows up in Pennsylvania. And don't you have the clip of what, I mean?
I do, right here.
Philadelphia, unfortunately, and I would say this about my own city, has a reputation for voter fraud. You have a reputation for dead people voting, and we're going to go look at just how many dead people voted here. I didn't think we'd have to do that, but we will. And you have a reputation from Camden voting here. Wouldn't be the first time that happened. But this goes way beyond any of that. And let me also add that this isn't happening just here. We have exactly the same lawsuit in Wisconsin, where exactly the same thing happened. Except in Wisconsin, mysteriously at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yep. When we're all asleep.
about 120,000 ballots appeared. Oh, here come these ballots. Well, we have no idea.
And they're all for Biden.
They're all for Biden.
That's where you see the hockey stick spike there.
If they really are ballots. We have no idea if they're signed, if they're postmarked properly, if it isn't just the same person who submitted 100,000 ballots, and they all got counted. This is the way they intend to win. Now I'm informed by former Congressman Sweeney, who's been going around the country collecting this information, that similar situation in Arizona, similar situation in Nevada, and a similar situation, what am I missing, John? Where are you? In Michigan, in Detroit, Michigan. Again, let me be specific what it is. This whole new thing that never happened before in our country, these mail-in ballots, which has been a cause of real concern for everyone because they can easily be fraudulent. Well, one of the things that the law attaches to that is the right for both parties to observe the ballot, the way we do with absentee ballots. You make certain it's properly signed. On the outside, there's a signature. You make sure that it's properly postmarked. You make sure that it's properly addressed, and then you pass on it. A number of these are often challenged by the Democrat representative or the Republican representative. We never got a chance to look at a single one of them.
That could be problematic.
The gentleman here who did this for us says about 100,000 ballots went through that process in the 20-plus hours in which they wasted his time by not allowing him to see a single ballot.
Okay.
He's pointing out some major discrepancies in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. That they're saying, and so
yeah, ordinarily when you have absentee ballots, then there's witnesses from both sides to
Right.
make sure it's carried out right. And he's just pointing out, hey, that didn't happen for a whole bunch of these ballots.
yeah, I'm wondering, is there a situation or a possibility that he thinks that everything's legit? We just haven't had a chance to see the ballots, and I don't feel that he feels that way because in the beginning of this, he said this is how they plan to win.
Right.
So my question is, and I know I don't want to be naive about this, but I want to ask the question to them: is there a possibility that you can see this where everything's legit, but it's just not going the way that you thought, and there has been some oversight on how you were allowed to see what's taking place in front of you. Right. I mean, I can't remember exactly. Was it Pennsylvania where he's talking about now, and in Georgia where they weren't allowed to see the other side who was they couldn't see
Counting the ballots.
counting the
Well,
ballots.
there
and
was
who
one video going around with them putting the
boarding up the
boarding
walls.
up the walls so you can't watch. I mean,
I saw that, and then I heard the response to that, which was, "Hey, we had a lot of people who came here who were not a part.
they were trying to disrupt the
who
counting
were
process.
disrupting the process, and so they boarded up or they covered up they blacked out the window so they wouldn't disrupt the voting process."
Right. You and I were talking about this last night, Knox, and you said this is kind of like the Philando Castile situation. Explain that.
Or any police situation or any tense situation where you're like, okay, if we keep going this way, we're going to end up in a fight.
Yeah.
All right. And not a good one either, because so Philando Castile, if you think about that situation, Philando's driving, he gets pulled over, the police is already a little jumpy. Philando's a little high, he's a little jumpy. He's a little jumpy too. And all we need at this point is for somebody to fart. And gunshots are flying.
You twitch the wrong way.
You twitch the
you
wrong
move
way.
the wrong way.
Right.
But tensions get so high, and all of a sudden, shooting starts.
And that's what's. But I want everybody to have a room for error that doesn't have to be fallacious.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and Christians need to be this way. We need to be thoughtful and wise in a
That's right.
situation like this, which isn't naive.
Yeah, right.
No, absolutely not.
Is it possible that massive fraud is happening? Yes, it's absolutely
very possible.
possible. Is it possible that mistakes are being made? Honest mistakes?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it possible that mistakes and lies are happening on both sides?
Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. So.
But this is why we need like 2 or 3 witnesses. We need to
Exactly.
go through the whole biblical
But
justice
go through the process.
Exactly.
This is, guys, you know what? The way things have been going, especially with the woke movement and everything. I didn't got what was it? Okay.
Whoa.
Oh, you
whoa.
want some of that? Because of that, we've actually lost the full process of law.
Right.
And biblical law is like, okay, so submit your claim. It's a worthy accusation. Let's take it on 2 or 3 witnesses in the process and follow it out. Before we're making judgments before we even get to that process.
Right. And this is the problem with all the critical theory.
Yeah.
This is the problem with all the woke. Oh, now you got it.
I got you. When I'm not talking, I can do it.
When it is fundamentally, I'm going to get mine.
Yep.
That's what it fundamentally is.
Yes.
I'm going to get mine. You done me wrong, I'm going to get mine.
Yeah, right.
It's not about biblical justice. Right. It's not about actual biblical restitution, which puts things right.
Yeah.
It's about I'm going to get mine. Well, if that's the standard for justice, then that is a fight ready to happen. Because when you get yours, then I'm going to get mine.
And what the mobs have shown us is that they have an ability to put pressure on people to make the decisions that they want. So what I don't like to see, even though I know maybe their intentions were good, and I think, people who are showing up to protest, good intentions. Okay, I disagree with them, but it doesn't help that you can put a certain type of pressure at a poll to get, and because of the riot, it showed us that that's worked. Right. It showed us that type of justice can happen.
And this and the dangerous thing in a culture is seeing this happen on a massive scale. So now you've got this massive corruption that tries to impeach Trump last year.
This is
the Russian collusion thing. While you've got
you remember
Hunter Biden running deals with Ukraine, with the mayor's wife in Moscow, Russia, and China, and Joe Biden is somehow maybe taking checks on this as well.
And remember that Hillary and DNC paid for the dossier files. That they used to go
that
through
Obama knew about
that they used to go to the FISA courts.
So it's a little hard. I mean, it's a little hard to think Trump. Maybe you're being kind of jumpy.
Well, yeah,
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
No, he's saying that he's valid.
Right.
If you can't understand why Trump would be jumpy, then you're not being rational.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to talk to you anymore if you don't believe what Pastor Toby just said. Because if you Trump's whole
the flip side is that if you just got a trigger finger,
yes.
If you're just ready to shoot somebody,
yes,
you're also dangerous, and you're not going to help the situation.
I've had to tell police officers, sir, could you please talk to me without your hand on your gun?
Yeah.
And that's what I want to tell America right now in a second. Right. Hey, guys, yes, there's some things going on. Let's wait out a little bit. Let's go through the process. But can we talk about it?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying don't have your guns. I'm not saying don't have a whole lot of ammo. I surely do.
Yeah.
But can we have the conversation with our hands off the gun? I think the conversation is had not with your hand on the gun, with a hand on the trigger. And I want to Pastor Wilson said something on the show the other night.
You said if Biden got elected, buy lots of guns and ammo.
Yep.
Is that what you're bringing up?
And I actually want to disagree with him and say, if you don't already have guns and ammo, shame on you.
Yeah. I don't think I have enough.
I don't think I do either. But he did say, he's like, I asked him if this is something he's ever seen before in his lifetime. And he said, no, I haven't seen anything like this really since
1859.
1859.
69, I thought. Was it
18.
before? Was it before the Civil War or
Hey,
after?
come on, man.
Well, I mean, I can see it happening after the Civil
He
War
was
too.
sitting right next to you.
Was it 59?
59. But and then before that, it was 50 years or 60 years before that, where we're talking about the American
Revolution.
at the same time. The same sort of escalation. The same sort of buildup.
Yeah.
And all it took was just a simple situation to happen, and boom, here we go. And it's the same thing with the Civil War. Okay, it's building up, and before it doesn't have anywhere to go. And this is why the gospel is so important.
Yeah.
This is why Christians, not to be naive, but we really need to think about, okay, if something goes wrong, we go through the process, and if God is who he is, and Jesus actually died for our sins, then some of our heartbrokenness, some of our mistreatment, we can actually anchor in Christ and say he will judge.
Right.
He will be the one that will make all things right. And so we're not going to lose our minds and flip out because of that, because we're trusting in Christ. Now we're going to go through the process. We're going to sit up there.
It holds both those things together.
That's
so
right.
What the gospel ought to allow you to do is both have grace
Yes.
for real mistakes, and even for, even grace that doesn't cover over evil,
finds truth.
but is able to confront it graciously.
Right.
Grace has a backbone.
That's right.
Grace is not just a pushover. Grace is not just a doormat.
Right.
That's right.
But grace still knows that Christ is king. He died for all sins. It allows you to love your enemies.
That's right.
And resist them
At the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
To do good to those who persecute you, and also say you need to stop doing that.
That's right.
You need to stop persecuting. We need a massive dose of that kind of gospel courage, that kind of gracious backbone, and we don't have a lot of that now in the air.
No, and when you don't have that, all of a sudden, every accusation is the high level one.
Yeah.
Every accusation is true, and now you got to chop the other
so
person.
fast.
Everything's escalate, and I think we need to kind of de-escalate the situation and try to think really rationally, really biblically about how we need to move forward. Yeah. Another thing I want to say is, I think we might have to come to terms with the fact that a lot of people in America just voted for Biden.
Yep.
And I think part of our pushback on what's happening, why some of us are going voter for, which I think there's some validations there, is because we don't want to accept at all the fact that maybe America actually voted for Joe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think there's a couple reasons for that.
Well, I think the other side is hey, half of America just voted for Trump.
Well, right, but I think when you have, 40, 20, we've had more people vote in this election than we probably ever had before.
About 14 million more people.
14.
Wow.
We're right now looking behind you on this, I don't know where this is, Fox's popular vote. You've got 72 million, 68 million, almost 69 million. It was
that's usually around 60 million, 63 million.
It was about 7 million lower on both of those in 2016, which I'm just ballpark about 14 million more votes already.
Wow.
Depending on how many more million votes they find in Philly.
And so you can't take for granted the fact that it's because of the mail-in voting. I don't think it's just because people are excited about the election. And I think we had something change that allowed more people to be able to vote than could have previously voted because of the mail-in.
Yeah, I think it's both.
You think it's both?
I do.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't have mail-in voting and the Rona was, I don't think.
I think the tensions are high, though. I mean, I think this
tensions are definitely high.
Back to the point of the point you're making that more than half of the people who voted for Biden.
Yeah, I
think, and I think that just, but it's close.
My point is, there is a difference when you have people who are conservative tend to be a very strong working class for the most part, right? Who are going to get out and go do things. Most of the liberals have to be motivated beyond belief to be able to go out and vote. They have huge campaigns for this. There's not the same kind of vote campaigns the Republicans. It's just not the same. And so I think what happens is when you don't have to actually go out and do something, you can get more people on the side that it's over here to go out and vote. Which is why we have such a huge turnout in one way or another for Biden.
I still have a little hard time with the Biden side of things because, he wasn't really campaigning the last month.
Of course he wasn't.
He was doing basement interviews and car rallies.
His campaign is "I'm not Trump."
Yeah, right.
That's it.
I'm a nice guy and I'm not Trump.
Yeah. But anyways, another example of this, James O'Keefe. He's been doing this sort of undercover, Veritas Project stuff. Here's an example
Tell us
of
where
what's
you
going
work.
on.
I work in the Traverse City Post Office, more specifically the Barlow branch.
Your boss told you and your colleagues something that shocked you this morning. What was it?
We were issued a directive this morning to collect any ballots we find in mailboxes, collection boxes, just outgoing mail in general, separate them at the end of the day so that they could hand stamp them with the previous day's date. Today is November 4th, for clarification.
Who is your boss, and what is his title?
Jonathan would be a direct supervisor, yes. As of right now, he is the opening supervisor for the Barlow branch
Dropping names.
post office. So and this is anecdotal, a carrier down in another office said they watched the postmaster doing it. If it were just a typical day, it would be clerks doing it up at the distribution center.
Ooh.
So 8 p.m. Election Day, November 3rd. The Court of Appeals ruled ballots have to be received by that time. And what were you told?
To separate them today so they could mark them with yesterday's date and send them through the express system to wherever they needed to go.
This appears to be an attempt to circumvent Michigan law and allow late votes.
Whoa, son.
And you said there was a hamper where letter carriers were supposed to leave their ballots. Where are the ballots now?
They were putting them into express bags to go to the distribution center. In regards to a hamper, there was a standard hamper that all letter mail is supposed to go to, and they had a tub next to it that we were supposed to put any ballots collected today into.
Yes. What made you come forward?
That's sketchy. I don't like sketchy. It screams corruption. Also, knowing the post office's leanings politically, it didn't seem quite right.
What is your message to other postal workers who see things like this?
Report it. How are we supposed to have any integrity in this country if we are just going to let things slide based
Is he
on
reporting
a
it?
scaling issue?
Are you afraid of retaliation against you?
I've had whistleblower policies backfire on me in the past, so yes.
We'll have to reach out to Jonathan Clark for comment. Hey, is this Jonathan?
Yes.
Hey, I'm a reporter with Project Veritas, James O'Keefe here, and I have information that you guys have been stamping ballots with the previous date, November 3rd. He just hung up. He just hung up the phone on me.
Okay, real quick.
All right.
Can I talk to you with your hand off the gun?
Let's light our hair on fire.
Okay.
Let's light our hair on fire
Can
right
I
now.
talk to you real quick with your hand?
Well, I'm
and your finger
still
off the gun?
suspicious
Yeah.
of this video.
Finger off the trigger.
Like, why isn't he going to report it to the FBI? He just said other postal workers should report it. Well, is he reporting it?
Yeah, right.
And then whistleblower, he's had other whistleblower policies blow back him on the past.
Yeah.
Has he done this before?
Does he have a record?
Right.
You know?
So is this a valid witness?
Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
when someone doesn't show their face and won't let us hear their voice. And so I know he's trying to be protected one way or another, but that's more reason why didn't you go to somebody who in authority who can really do something?
Yeah.
Now, FBI, have they been compromised?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Has there been anything
Has
with
there-
Trump and
has-
the FBI? And
Are they in a good situation right now? Have
Yeah.
they had their hands on Hunter Biden's computer for over a year?
Maybe.
Or at least known about it?
right.
Yeah.
I mean, so can
Okay.
you? So,
but here, just keep thinking about this. So you've also got the fact that, is it possible that the instructions given to them to postmark them the day before was because that mail came in
the day before.
before?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah,
possible.
That's very possible.
Is it possible that this post office boss is
A Democrat?
is being fraudulent?
It's possible.
That's also
too.
possible.
Yeah, that's right.
Is he breaking the law? That's possible.
Yep.
So what do we need to do?
We don't know. We should definitely share this and freak out.
Okay. You know, the thing that I want to be done first, before I even go to the post office, before I even do all that, I want to know, is the witness credible?
Right.
Is this a credible witness?
No.
Exactly.
No.
It's not a credible
Now,
witness.
He might be.
But we don't know.
Currently, this is not a credible witness.
No.
A credible witness is somebody who has a name and a face and actually can be cross-examined.
Yes. Right.
In biblical law, the judges are required to inquire diligently into testimony. You
Yep.
need 2 or 3 witnesses.
Yep.
And there's also warnings about false witnesses, which means you've got to be able to cross-examine to see, is this a true witness or not? Currently, we don't know. This might be
that's
a
right.
witness. It might be one witness.
This is why I think it's so important that we actually get rid of mail-in balloting. where you actually have to go, give your ID, take some time and effort, and vote in person. Because mail-in balloting actually takes away from the witness thing. You don't know who sent that ballot in, but in-person voting is I think the only way to go. Yeah. I'm not even that excited about absentee balloting.
Well, you would have to. There's a way to track it still. Have to go back and say, yes, we have this. Did you vote this? There's a way to go back. They're doing it right now in Georgia.
Yeah, I think the argument for in person, or at least the idea of having some kind of 2-3 witness
that's
thing,
important.
People are there; they can see you.
Is that you have more accountability and more transparency? Whereas, I mean, it is true that when you have a mailing system,
it goes through how many hands?
The opportunities for even mistakes, loss, even apart from sinful nature, skyrockets.
Yeah, so even in our voting process, we need to be thinking very biblical about, okay, 2 or 3 witnesses. Can we validate this person came in?
I mean, I walk in and there's a person there who's checking my ID, who's checking my address, checking my date of birth. So there's accountability there when you have face-to-face interaction. And if there are other ways of also double checking someone's identification, that you're a real person and that you're casting this vote, I know there's history to all this too.
Of course there is.
That's in the background.
Of course.
And so it's.
But this is
a
why.
Mess.
Well, just think about how much the COVID has been used this year.
Of course. This is part of the reason why we're at right.
And the COVID has pushed the mail-in balloting thing.
Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
But remember, in back of all of this, American culture is incredibly sick.
It is.
We are a sick culture.
It's
we
flimsy.
Are a decadent
It's weak.
culture. And so what happens
That's right.
is Trump didn't make us bad.
Come on now.
We were bad. And Trump has brought a spotlight on our evil and our filth. COVID didn't make us bad. The whole pandemic has exposed how fearful we are, how enslaved we are to our lusts and to power and all of our corruption.
And it's
so all the stresses always reveal your weaknesses. They don't create them.
And it's proven the fact that we actually deserve Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is what I think we're freaking out about. It's like the kid who knows he deserves a spanking. He's been acting a particular way. He's been breaking mom and dad's dishes. He's been tearing up the house. Mom and dad come home and he see the belt come out and he like, it was the dog's fault. Listen, we deserve a presidency of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That's what we deserve.
Amen.
This whole election, what happened in Colorado, where they voted to protect wolves and voted against banning late-term abortions.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It sums up everything.
We're a foul nation.
It's unbelievable.
But this is, you can hold this. You can say we deserve worse than Joe Biden.
We deserve Hillary Clinton.
We deserve Hillary. We deserve Bernie. We deserve
Harris.
AOC.
We're going to get Commie Harris.
We deserve all of that. And you can say that, and you can at the same time still say, but I want justice to be done. Yeah. And you can do everything in your power to tell the truth and want the truth told and want the truth exposed. You can hold that together.
We better.
We have to.
That's
what the gospel teaches us to do. Anyways.
Yeah, so right now, go out, continue to be vigilant, but be Christians, people.
Amen.
Be Christians.
Yep. Yeah.
Be salt and light. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them. Until Sunday, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Don't fret. Go fight.
Amen.
Laugh and feast. This is CrossPolitic.
Good show coming Sunday.